I feel checked out in my marriage. We, 26F and 33M, got married 3 months ago. We met on a dating app in December 2023 and started dating in February/March 2024. During the talking stage, I had made it very clear that I do not want to hear any details about our exes, as I felt it's unnecessary and might cause unnecessary upsets. I'd also made clear that honesty is a non-negotiable element. Regardless of me making it clear, he talked to me about his ex, who he initially claimed that he dated for 2 to 3 years. He also claimed that he had a 10-year-long relationship, post which the girl married her best friend, breaking his heart, and then a relationship in college, who was his best friend's ex, and she got back with him and later tried to come back where my guy, let's call him Roy, said no. I was bothered by his latest breakup, the one he said lasted 2 to 3 years, as I could see his likes on weepy posts on Instagram and his general weepy behavior. He also said stuff like, if I attend her marriage, we both will end up crying because we love each other. He claimed she left him due to compatibility issues. There were stuff like this that would piss me off, but I gave him a chance each time because I thought these were minor stuff. He claimed to be completely over her and ready for a relationship when he asked me to be his girlfriend in March. He claimed to have not talked to anyone since we started talking in December, both of which I believed at the time. The issue of exes added on Instagram was not okay with me, which I communicated to him, and he said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. A month into the relationship, when I checked with him if he had removed his ex from his socials, he said no, and I said I want out of the relationship if he intends to keep it so, as he couldn't give a solid reason for keeping her added. He cried that day and claimed he lost 2 people, me and her, that day, claiming I don't trust him and that I'm dictating rules for him. I think I started checking out that day. There was one time he said he used to believe in soulmates but doesn't anymore as someone made him stop believing in all that, and one time when he said people don't get over their exes as other examples. All this time we were long distance. I was about to leave him after so many of these, when he got hospitalized and had a major spinal surgery and all. He claimed to have gained weight during the recovery. I met him in person in August, when I realized he had always been overweight. His pictures were AI generated, and he looks considerably different in person. We did have video calls in person where I could only see his face mostly. It's not the weight that upsets me, it's the lying. He had claimed that his pictures were original and recent. I accidentally saw the weepy messages he had written for the ex and 100 other girls, and realized he had always been rejected. He came across and pathetic and desperate. I found out that he was subtly recreating the things he had with his ex, like purple flowers, which were her favorite. He claimed to be his faves. He came to the airport with purple flowers, actually. He was planning to take me to the places he had visited with his ex. He gifted both of us a bracelet and a blue t-shirt at first, etc. During my 1-month stay there, we had numerous fights as I kept on finding out more and more lies that he had told. He admitted that he actually didn't have the 10-year and college relationships, he just embellished it to sound cool. I had told him that I need to be around the person physically before getting intimate before we had met, and he had berated me, calling me unnatural and weird. And he said he needs physical intimacy and asked me to fix a definite timeline on when I'll be ready to have S*X with him. He apologized profusely, saying that he has body image issues and was worried I might not find him appealing, so he was projecting that. I belong to a different culture and my family situation is difficult. My dad an abusive alcoholic, and I'm not on talking terms with him. He berated my culture, called us village people, and said the rest of the world doesn't follow things like we do. Our culture is very low-key and easygoing, whereas his culture is infamous for showing off and flashy nature. He mocked me, asking who'll give me away at the wedding because of my dad being estranged. He said his family has expectations, and I told him to clear them out so we can make the decision whether to continue or not. He later apologized and said his mother said she'll be the only family I'd ever need, post which he agreed to never bring up my dad's situation again. He bought expensive gifts, Dyson, a Cartier ring, a new phone, a Prada sunglasses for me. I kept on saying no, all these were gifted to me with me never requesting or wanting anything from him. I was uncomfortable with it and strictly stopped him from buying anything else. We went to Van Cleef, Tiffany, LV, etc. shops where I strictly said no more expensive gifts. My dream ring was a minimalistic one with a teeny tiny lab-grown diamond ring, but he always said no, as people expect him to do better than that. So I attributed it to his culture, and maybe a status symbol to put better things on his partner. We got engaged, and regardless of me asking for a long engagement, we registered our marriage due to the long-distance issues. I always wanted a low-key proposal but with good pictures, whereas he took me to a palace who overcharged a lot. There was no photographer, the flowers, the song, everything was the opposite of my taste. We had discussed a million times what sort of aesthetic I liked. The day of the marriage, he was cranky and visibly unhappy to the point that his mom and aunt asked me what's wrong with him. We had a huge fight later that day. I found out that his ex was added on his LinkedIn, and he was heart-reacting her updates months after we had the Instagram fight. I suspect he only married me so fast because he was scared to lose to another guy who proposed to me. We had a bad fight 2 weeks ago where everything came up all over again, and he got physically violent with me. I am no saint. I say stuff when I'm angry, but he sat on me, he weighs double, and choked me and said he was going to kill me. I had bruises on my ankles, wrists, and arms. Plus, after a hit he did to my head with a hard pillow, I am having migraine-like episodes since then. He has a bad odor. I'd noticed an off smell around his genitals sometimes, and I've communicated it to him. His towel has the single most disgusting smell I've ever smelled, but his body was still okay before. But lately I've started to find his armpits unbearable too. My mom thinks it could be psychological as we're fighting and emotionally drifting. He is rough in bed. There's not much foreplay and no aftercare, and usually he cannot get it up or it goes down by the time a condom is on. We've had sex maybe 2 or 3 times successfully. Rest of it is me giving up and going down on him, which he expects me to do every time, as soon as we start kissing. He is bad at head and is generally bad at sex too. How to describe it? He touches me just wrong. I've had cuts inside my vagina multiple times, which is said is normal. Google it. But I'm not that inexperienced to know that it's not common. He just does it wrong. I'm sorta demisexual, so maybe the emotional drifting is what's turning me off more nowadays. During our last fight, he said that I played around for the gifts that he bought me. Later on claimed to have not meant it, that he simply meant that I was there when he bought it, so I was a party to the play. Dyson and phone were surprise gifts. I didn't even know. I had no idea what his financial situation was. I thought it was part of the courting game he was playing, and hand to heart, I've never played for any expensive gifts. He got me a 3CT lab-grown diamond. He wanted Tiffany. He wanted a big stone. I couldn't have cared less about the size. Would have been happy with a non-precious stone, or a plastic ring for that matter, but he still alleged this on me. There was an incident during the talking stage where I had a drink with my colleagues, downstairs in the common area of my building, but I don't drink much, so I puked. And while I was puking, a colleague of mine, helping me, attempted to kiss me. He got my puke in my mouth, and I've cut him off since. My husband said that I must have done something. It can't be that guy's fault. Multiple derogatory comments mentioning, at least I'm not as bad as your dad during fights. The ex that I was bothered about, turns out it was a 3 to 4 month dating thing where neither of them were exclusive with each other. She broke it off and immediately started dating a new guy, and my husband pined for her and begged her to take him back. He claims he never loved her, wanted to prove his friends and family wrong because they said it won't work, which is why he pursued her. He now claims that they were never intimate beyond second base. He lied about everything. There's a million more lies, where he always portrayed himself as financially secure or flaunting branded things that turned out to be fakes, his debts, etc. These are all off the top of my head. I'm tired of the multiple narratives that he keeps telling me, the alterations and the I didn't say that, I didn't mean that. I don't see the point of it anymore. I am mentally drained. I don't love him anymore. I am back in our home country now and away from him. The peace I experience without him is nice. I sleep better. I lost 10 pounds in this relationship and am currently trying to gain it back. I have checked out. I feel rage, resentment, and hopeless too. I have told him I want a divorce and he's, once again, in the process of begging for another chance to fix it. He always does this, blames everything on his mother, his stress, or his self-esteem issues. He tells me what I want to hear, and then it's back to hell. I'm tired of the cycle. I've been consistently honest and communicative. I don't know why I didn't walk away earlier. What could have been a breakup is now a divorce. I know now I've lost it and say bad stuff during fights, but I am done. I called him a stinky, sick loser bastard who lied and micro-cheated. Stuff like that. He's invoked a rage in me that I didn't know I had inside me. I don't like me now, and I am disgusted by who I chose to love and probably still do love. He's asking for a 3 or 6 month redemption period and offering to go to therapy. Maybe couples therapy. I don't know. Even if it leads us to reconciliation, do I want him at the end of it? Is it worth it anymore? Am I at fault? Was I stupid for overlooking the red flags? Am I a covert narcissist? Or should I stop being an unforgiving Bith and let this all go? At this point, what all should I be angry about? All the narratives are mixed up and confusing. All I know is that it takes me 2 seconds to be triggered and go from 0 to 10 in the rage scale with him now. Is it fixable? I don't know. Do I want it to be fixed? I don't know. Would I ever be able to go back to loving him the way I used to or wanted to? I don't have anyone else to vent to. I am reserved in person. This is where I could vent. So kind people of Reddit, I'm tired of crying every night to sleep. Tell me what to forgive, how to let go. Tell me what I did wrong like you'd advise a family member or a close friend. I am open to all opinions and advices. TDLR. Tired of lying and changing narratives, turning the relationship very toxic.